Hello, everybody. I need to apologize for the confusion of last class. I apologize I didn't do a better job of communicating the change in plans, so please accept my apology. How many people we've got here? There's Mike. Hi, Mike. Gallery view, that's right. There we go. Okay. Well, let's get started. Mike, if you'll offer the mandala for us.
Sashi Puki Jukshin Metak Chang Rira Bling Shin Yinde Genpadi Sange Shingdu Mikte Uwargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Chupar Shok Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami.
I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, I will reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. Okay, let's do a little rejoicing. Let's start with Katerina. What do you have to rejoice about? Now I need to get the translation. Let's see, how do I do that? Interpretation, English. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I rejoice news from kids. They have good news from school, and I work with my daughter after school. We run the bike, and we with hands together with the bike. It's fun.
Okay. Sounds like you helped your daughter learn how to ride a bike. Okay. Anastasia.
Oh, she very good at this. She can with one hand, and second hand she to me, and we
rode the bikes together. Yeah. Oh, fun. So you had fun with your daughter. How old is your daughter?
7 years old.
7 years old. Wow. Nice. Okay, Anastasia, what do you have to rejoice about?
Добрый день. Ой, добрый вечер.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see you. I would like to rejoice that this weekends on Friday, I had a wedding of my niece, and I created video with the whole our family, and we congratulated them with their wedding days, with their holiday.
Well, very good. Congratulations. That's a big step. Okay, who's next here? Daria, do you have anything you can rejoice in?
Yeah, good evening, good afternoon. Wait, please. I delight in helping the group to correction receive the Buddha medicine Buddha mantras in Sanskrit, and today I was able to stop my anger for a short time, and I'm very happy.
Good. Good. Stopping your anger now is going to make your life much more pleasant in the future. So good. You burned off that seed. That's really nice. Okay, let's see. Tatiana, do you have something you can rejoice about?
Добрый вечер.
Good evening. I have the same kid. I'm taking care of my mother. She is a little bit healthy and alive due to my care, due to my efforts. I perceive her this way. The second week, I'm a volunteer in the exactly to the purpose, the fifth flow of this course, and I'm volunteering in ACI 5. And the greatest joy is that the second course is practically finished, and I need to finish my quiz, and I will get ready for my exam. I'm going to finish this course on this week. I'm very grateful to you for the studying, for the teaching.
You're
It
very welcome.
was very great support.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you're getting ready to finish. That's something, Svetlana, if you can find out who all is going to want to be part of the review, then if you'll email me those names, I'll assign review questions for Thursday from the exam. Okay, who's next? Mike, what do you have to rejoice about?
I helped my friend clean his garage this weekend. So, so basically, hoping going forward that I can live in a clean space and have everything organized in my environment. So,
Good. Did you find any treasures?
no, just a lot of boxes, a lot of cardboard.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's exactly how you're going to have the future you want, by helping someone achieve that themselves. I just realized, Daria, you remind me of Scarlett Johansson, the actress Scarlett Johansson. For what that's worth. Okay. Alexander, what do you have to rejoice in?
I'm happy to have taken our children to the kindergarten in the morning today, as my wife has not been feeling well for a few days. And so I did this with wisdom to continue to get support in the future when I need it. And I'm also not feeling well, for example, in the
Oh,
future.
I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Well, good job.
Nothing serious, just a little bit illness.
That's how you get the future you want. So very good.
Mm.
Who did I leave out? Anybody? Oh, me. No, Svetlana, what you have to rejoice in?
Oh, like today I was today I managed to keep calm talking with my colleagues, and when I had like actions and had questions and was quite anxious about it, I decided to take a break, go out of the situation, and then return. And it was a much calmer conversation. So I rejoice that I managed to be calmer in discussions with colleagues.
Very good. It's a very important lesson to learn. When you find yourself getting upset and angry, take a deep breath. If you can leave the room, if you can do whatever, but stop and realize where this is coming from. It's not coming from them, it's coming from you, and you can do something about it, and then do that something about it. So very good. Okay, my rejoicing. Well, let's see. I had a doctor's visit that went very well. She's really pleased that my Parkinson's hasn't progressed as much as she thought it might. Sometimes Parkinson's progresses pretty quickly, but I'm about where I was a year ago, and that's really good news. So I rejoice that my health is hanging in there. We have a friend who's staying with us for a couple of weeks as we get him ready to return to Britain. And we're doing that with wisdom. Our house is quite small, so having him stay with us could be a burden, but we decided to make it not a burden, because in the future I'm going to need help like we're giving David. He's also named David. So by giving him the help he needs happily, joyfully, with wisdom, I can see that will give me the help I need. Maybe in this life, maybe in the next, maybe in future lives. But the idea is to do it with wisdom. So, okay. So today's class, I don't know about you, but when I first learned this class, went through this class, I wasn't quite sure the point of it. So let's go back and review it, and we'll discuss a little more detail. So you have the handout. On one of the slides, I think the second, let's see. So there are 3 parts to any logical statement: the subject, the assertion, the reason, and sometimes an example. So our proof of one or many is what we're going to look at again today. The subject, consider the 3 knowledges. The assertion, they do not exist really, because they do not exist as really as one thing or as many things. They're like a reflection in a mirror. So what does that have to do with our study of emptiness? Well, this is more about the logic statement than it is to me, than it is to a study of emptiness. But we'll see in a minute how it works. So what are the 3 knowledges? Very simply, they're the basic knowledge, the path of knowledge, and the knowledge of all things. So we're asserting that they do not exist really. And that means when we say really, we're saying they're not self-existent, because they don't exist self-existently as one thing or as many things. They're like a reflection in the mirror. So we need to go back and visit the rules for doing proofs. But before that, let's review one thing. I want to make sure you understand. When we say they do not exist really, because they do not exist really as one or as many, do they exist as many? Yes, as long as we don't say really. As long as we don't say really, we can say the 3 knowledges exist as many, because there are 3 knowledges. So that's many. But if we say really, then we're saying they're self-existent, and they are not self-existent. They do not exist self-existently as one or as many. If you accept that something exists, then it must be one thing or many things. Things are either singular or plural. If we can prove that something cannot exist self-existently as one thing or as many things, then we have proved they cannot exist self-existently at all. So back to Buddhist logic. We state the subject, we then the assertion, the quality to be proven, and the reason that proves the assertion. So here's a new proof. Consider the sun. This seems pretty silly, but it's a simple example to show how the logical proof works. Consider the sun. The sun is not blue, so consider the sun. We all accept the sun is yellow. The sun is not blue because the sun is yellow. Okay, that seems pretty silly, but just bear with me. So there are three relationships that have to hold true for a Buddhist logic, for a logical statement to be true. So 3 equals 1. The sun is yellow, consider the sun. Well, yes, the sun is yellow. It's true, the sun is yellow. Then the next one is, if 3 is true, then 2 must be true. The sun is yellow. The sun is not blue. Well, if the sun's yellow, it can't be blue. So that's true. Then if you negate number 2 and 3 is negated, the statement's true. So if we say, let me get my, well, let's go back to 3 equals 1 for now. Consider the sun is yellow. That's true. If we had said, consider the sun is not blue because it's green, 3 does not equal 1, and the argument is not valid. So let me repeat that. We have a valid proof. The sun is, to consider the sun is not blue, but it is yellow. So how does 3 relate to 1? We agree the sun is yellow. So when we say number 3, the sun is yellow, they make sense. We're considering the sun and it is yellow. But if the proof said, consider the sun is not blue because it's green, that would not be a valid proof because 3 does not equal 1. Consider the sun because it's green. Well, we know the sun is yellow. So that would be not a valid proof. The next relationship is if 3 is true, 2 must be true. The sun is yellow because it's not blue. Well, that's true. So that's valid. You could say instead, consider the sun. It is not blue because you can feel its heat. You can feel the heat, but it's not blue, it doesn't hold up. You can feel heat, it doesn't mean it's not blue. So then if not 2, then not 3. If I negate the assertion and you negate the reason, the relationship still holds true. So if the sun is not blue, i.e. it's blue, then the sun is not yellow. That holds true. So let's do this one more time. Slightly different. Consider the sun. It is shining because there is a shadow here. So 1 equals 3. Consider the sun. There's a shadow here. Well, if the sun is shining, there'd be a shadow there. So that's true. If 3 is true, then 2 must be true. Because there's a shadow here, the sun must be shining. If not 2, then not 3. There can't be a shadow. If it's not shining, there can't be a shadow. This isn't true. There could be a bright light casting a shadow. So this is not a valid proof. So let's repeat that. Consider the sun. It is shining because there's a shadow here. 3 equals 1, true. If not 2, if 3 is true, then 2 must be true. It is shining because there's a shadow, true. If not shining, there can't be a shadow. That's not true. There could be a shadow due to a bright light casting a shadow. So this is not a valid proof. If we can prove a thing cannot exist really, self-existently, as one thing, then it cannot exist really as many. So consider the three knowledges. They do not exist as one, really exist as one, because according to the Svatantrika school, they have parts. So does 3 equal 2? We know all that things have parts. We know that if you take parts away, you don't have a whole thing anymore. So what's so profound about this? Let's use the pen. When we look at a pen, we see a whole complete pen. So when you look at this pen, you see it, what you think you see is a whole complete pen. But we are not, we cannot see the entire pen at once. Our eyes focus only on one part at a time, the front or the back or the top or the cap, but I can't see the label and the back. So I'm not seeing the entire pen. I'm seeing parts of the pen. For me to see the entire pen is not possible. We focus on each part, gathering clues, information, and something in our mind paints a complete picture of the pen and lays it onto the bunch of clues, which we then believe is a pen out there. It is out here. This pen is out here. I can write with this pen. It does exist, but it does not exist really. Because really is a code word for self-existently. The mental image doesn't happen by choice. If something really exists, it would exist independent of its parts. If we don't see the parts of the object, then we couldn't see the object at all. So there's a slide, a handout of all existing things. You should have that. So all existing things are composed of parts. There are the unchanging things, and they're the changing things. Do you all have that diagram in front of you? Yeah, okay. So let's go to unchanging things. There are 3 types of unchanging things. There's the cessation, empty space, and emptiness. So all existing things are composed of changing things and unchanging things. So all existing things can consist of parts. How about unchanging things? Well, unchanging things consist of cessations, empty space, and emptiness. Cessations are mental afflictions and their seeds. If you have a cessation of mental afflictions, that means you don't have them anymore. You can't partially have it. A cessation is not partial, it's complete. If you cease smoking, you've given up smoking. If you cease smoking, you're not smoking a little bit, you've stopped smoking completely. So that's our cessation, definition of the cessation. It's completely, when you have a cessation, it's unchanging in that it's either a cessation or it isn't. It's not partial. Empty space. Empty space, this pen is occupying space, this space right in front of me. Now it isn't. It isn't partially occupying that space. It's there completely or it's not at all. So I liken this example to the transporter on Star Trek. When you see the transporter on Star Trek, you see that sparkliness as they begin to fade in or come into the spaceship. But that's not how emptiness works. Emptiness is either all there or not there. Empty space, how does empty space have parts? Well, empty space has north, south, east, west, up, down. So empty space has parts. They're unchanging, but they have parts. So how about changing things? Well, there are two kinds of changing things. There's mental or mind, and there's physical matter. Physical matter is gross or subtle. Gross physical matter, if it was a single thing and I cover my hand, I would cover, if I hold my hand out and put my other hand on top of it, if it was a single existing thing, I would be covering the entire hand. You couldn't see my other hand. But the fact that this hand has parts means that I'm covering part of it. So for gross physical things have parts as well. The lower part of my hand, my fingers, my palm, my thumb, those are all parts. So subtle physical are atoms. The best example I like for atoms have parts. They have neutrons, protons, electrons. So atoms have parts. You can keep going ad infinitum, but everything has parts. So because it exists depending on its parts, it cannot be self-existent. So mental, direct, and in mind, direct and indirect. The mental thing that happens right after the event, your visual awareness of me now is directly caused by the visual awareness of me a moment before. The indirect is mental thing happening a moment before or after an event. So I snap my fingers twice. The first snap, then I pause and cause a second snap. The first snap is a remote cause of perceiving the second snap because you perceive the cause between them. Without the pause, you would have perceived only one snap. Every instant of thought is followed by another instant of thought, and they're separated by the moment of time passing. So mental images have parts. The mental image before, the mental image now, and the mental image in the future. So we've been able to say that all existing things have parts. Because all existing things have parts, they cannot be self-existent. If we've said that for something to exist really self-existently, it'd have to exist independent of any parts. We have to conclude there's no existing thing which exists really as one thing. If it doesn't exist as one thing, it can't exist as many things. So how does this prove emptiness? If we prove the lack of independent existence of all things, then that is their emptiness. If we prove the lack of independent existence of all things, that is their emptiness. Now, part of the problem with all this discussion, and something that confused me very much at the very beginning, was if you say independent, 2 words, or independent, 1 word, you have to be very, very careful, at least in English, when you say that, because it sounds so similar. I don't know if in Russian it sounds as similar. Svetlana, does it sound as similar? If we say independent versus independent as 1 word, is it similar?
1 letter is different.
Okay, so it's the same problem as English. When we say independent versus independent, that's frustrating to me as well. So one more time. We have proved the lack of independent existence of all things, and that is their emptiness. It's not that they don't exist. That's not what the point is. The point is they don't exist how we think they do. They don't exist out there coming at me. They exist by my projecting their existence. So I project to have this pen. I can pick it up. It's solid. I can write with it. It's not that it doesn't exist. It exists, but because of my karma ripening to have a pen, not because it's out there coming at me. It's seemingly simple, and you think you understand it now, and then someone gets mad at you, and your first response is to get mad back at them because it's their fault, when it's your fault for having done something to annoy someone in the past. And the solution is to remember it's all coming from you. And to me, that's very empowering. If it's coming from me, I can do something to change it. If it's coming from you, I have no way of making you change your mind. It's your karma ripening. So because things are not self-existent, we can change our world. We can change our response to our world and our future world. I find it really, it's confusing, it's frustrating, but it's very empowering, I think, because it all comes back for me to my illness and the fact that I could wake up tomorrow and I could not have Parkinson's. I could also wake up tomorrow, and, well, I can't wake up if I'm dead. I could also die overnight. Okay, that's possible. I'm not worried about it. It's my karma. But by protecting life, I can hopefully extend my life a little bit longer. So again, the bottom line is because it's coming from our karma ripening and our projections, we can do something about it. And as we'll learn in later classes, karma ripens in either the now, the immediate next life, or the next lives after that. So depending on who we do the deed to, how powerful they are, then that will have an effect on when the karma ripened. But that's classes ahead. That's course 8. Okay. So that was class 9. Class 10. Class 10 is really short, and this has always bothered me. It just seemed like Geshe-la stuck this in for some reason. So the question on the homework, let's go to the homework. And that's class 9. So there's this conversation, a debate about who Lord Maitreya is. Is he a Buddha or is he a Bodhisattva? If you think he's a Buddha, that's because you know something of the secret teachings. If you think he's a Bodhisattva, that's what's taught in the sutras. So there's a debate between the Sakyas and Gyaltsabje. And the Sakyas say he's a Buddha, and the basic question that they're debating is, does Lord Maitreya have any state of mind in which he aspires to fulfill his own needs? The Sakyas say, no, he's a Buddha. He doesn't have any needs to fulfill. He's a Buddha. Gyaltsabje says, be careful. You think he's a Buddha, or you're saying he's a Bodhisattva? The ornament of realizations is an open sutra teaching. You can't be saying he's a Buddha, because that's a part of the secret teaching. So in an open teaching, you can't be using the information from the secret teaching. What you could say, the proper thing to say, is that in the open teaching, you could say he is to be the future Buddha. That's legitimate, but you can't say he's a Buddha because that's secret from the secret teachings. But the Sakyas say, yes, we can say he's a Buddha, because according to the secret teachings, he's been a Buddha for a long time. So as a Buddha, does he still have the wish for enlightenment? So this comes down to filling your needs, his needs, or our needs, filling the needs of oneself or the needs of others. So as a Buddha, does he still have the wish for enlightenment? Now, here's a good example of the term enlightenment. Remember, we've talked about enlightenment, total enlightenment versus the other enlightenment. So as a Buddha, does he still have the wish for total enlightenment? I think would be a more correct way of phrasing that. Yes, he still has the wish for enlightenment, and he still has bodhicitta. He's a Buddha, but he's continuing to believe this and wish this. Does this wish fit the short definition of the wish for total enlightenment? Yes, the wish for total enlightenment is a desire to reach enlightenment for the benefit of every living being. Enlightened beings have this wish to fill their own needs and those of others. So what is total enlightenment? We've talked about this before. It's total enlightenment means having the two bodies, the form body or rupakaya and the wisdom body, the dharmakaya. The form body is for others to see, the emanation body is for others to see and hear. It is for fulfilling the needs of others to teach the Dharma. The Buddha also has a wisdom body, and the wisdom body is that which is attained by fulfilling one's own needs for the sake of others. As a Mahayana practitioner, can you still have the aspiration to fill his or her own needs? Aspiring to Buddhahood, you are acting to fill your own needs, and once you reach Buddhahood, the needs of others. So reaching total enlightenment is what helps fulfill their needs. It is not contradictory to want to your ultimate happiness so you can help others reach theirs. A Buddha never loses their desire to be totally enlightened so they can help others. They never lose the wish to fulfill both needs, even after they have done so. They constantly have this double wish. So let me repeat that. A Buddha never loses their desire to be totally enlightened so they can help others. They never lose the wish to fulfill both needs, even after they have done so. They constantly have this double wish. Now, I have no idea what it's like to be a Buddha, but this makes me curious. Why would a Buddha not want to think differently? They're constantly thinking how they can help others. So it's not that they never lose their desire in the same sense as they're constantly thinking of helping others. And so that reinforces or is their desire to be totally enlightened. The bottom line is it doesn't matter whether you think Maitreya is a high-level bodhisattva or a Buddha. Either way, he has bodhicitta, and he has the wish to fill both his needs and others, reaching total alignment for himself so he can truly help others reach theirs as well. And in fact, very importantly, reaching it yourself is the only way we can truly help others. Working for others' happiness is a way to reach it for yourself. It's an amazing circular argument. So how can we prove the validity of the secret teachings that Maitreya is a Buddha to this person? Gyaltsabje says learned scholars such as Dharmakirti in his text on the commentary on valid perception and Haribhadra in his brief commentary mention the secret teachings and why it works. So you can talk about the validity of the secret teachings and the open teachings. You just can't talk about the details. So there's one last thing that Geshe Michael mentions in Course 10. There are two elements that must be present for Tantra to work. The person who has spoken the Tantra must be a being of exceptional spiritual power. And the person who practices the Tantra must be someone who's leading a very pure life. So that's a very short class, but that's pretty much it for course 2. I know this is confusing. It's still confusing to me after all these years. So read the assigned reading. How many of you are taking the course for credit or doing the homeworks and quizzes? Mike? Svetlana? Tatiana? Alexander, are you taking it for credit? Well, Alexander's not there. Okay, well, Svetlana, find out, again, please find out and email me as soon as you can. And I will assign questions to everybody that's taking it for credit. And then that's how we'll go through the class on Thursday. It's good if you can answer the question on your own, but if you want to just read the answer in the answer key, that's okay too. Okay, if we have no further questions, this class has been a little bit difficult, a little kind of weird subjects, except for refuge. The next class is on meditation, and that's much more straightforward. Now, there is one thing I need to bring up about the next class, next course. I may be traveling to Britain and in Europe when I help my friend go back to Britain. He's leaving the US and going to return to Britain. So I can't really know what's going to happen in October or November. And December's bad because we're doing some teaching, initiating some students in Tantra. So that's pretty much taking most of December. So right now, depending on if I'm taking my friend back to Britain and I'm back before November, then we could start class again in November. If not, we'll have to start class in January. That's a long time between classes, and I apologize for that. But I don't know. My schedule for October, November is really up in the air at this time. So we'll play it by ear. I hope to know, I should know about when he gets his passport, we leave as soon as possible for Britain. So we think we'll hear about his passport in another week or 10 days. So what's that? Today's the 1st. So by mid-October, I hope to know what the schedule is and what my travel plans are. And then we can set up the schedule for course 3. So again, I apologize for last week's lack of communication. That's totally my fault. Won't happen again. And I've enjoyed teaching this. I think we'll have much more fun and learn. Well, I shouldn't say learning about refuge is not that it's not fun. I just think the course is better organized for course 3. And course 3 is a meditation course. And we talk about the source of all my good, which is one of my favorite subjects. So, okay, let's dedicate. By the goodness of what we've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the 2 ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So we'll see you all on Thursday, and we'll go over the final, and that's what's going on. Good to see you. Daria, has anybody ever said you look like Scarlett Johansson, the actress?
Yeah, it's my mother.
Scarlett
Well,
Johansson.
Wallace told me.
Oh. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Love you all. Be well, and we'll see you Thursday.
Thank you so much.
Спасибо огромное.
Thank you.
Спасибо.